so happy to hear that. What a great thing to walk into.
Thanks.
Yeah. Celebrate it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You guys feel ready to hop into this show and tell?
Let's do it.
Cool. Yay, I have so many people. That's awesome. So this is gonna be like pretty casual, guys. This is not an official roles meeting. It's been several months since we've done the full process, and we also have a lot of new elements to this process. So I just wanted to orient you guys a little bit to the new tools that I have found and built for us, so that hopefully we can hop back on that regular schedule. So first question, did everybody in here, is there anybody who didn't get an invite on their email to join Glassfrog? Anybody missing that?
I mean, I don't know yet.
Actually,
I didn't see it.
Okay, cool. Is there anybody who hasn't signed in yet? Because if so, I kind of need a volunteer who hasn't signed in yet. Huh?
Yeah, I've not signed in. If you want to use my screen.
Awesome. Okay, so because this one little element, Kai and I were talking about Glassfrog being, so Glassfrog is the tool that I to interface with roles. And
what other tools did you look at, just out of curiosity?
I'm not going to talk about that right now. And we realized not only is it awesome for like us to use, but it'd be really cool for other people to be able to see this as kind of like a public Giveth phone book, like an interface you can go into that's easy to go and find like who you might need to talk to if you want to learn how to build a security bridge, or if you want some conflict resolution skills and decentralized work communities, it would act as that. So I just want to have you, Josh, test if you can see our organization's page without the login. So I'm posting the link in the chat on Jitsi right now.
Hold on. I was going to share my screen. Where are we? Hold on, I'm not going into it. Should I not go from the email, or like I've got the email up and on?
Oh yeah.
Don't go from the email. Just click on the link in the Jitsi.
Okay.
And if you want to.
Lorelei, my invite didn't seem to work. It worked.
Oh, it didn't.
Did you check your spam? Mine was in the spam.
I only got one that I've been assigned to fill a role, but no login.
No, you should definitely check your spam folder for the actual invitation. Josh, do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. Actually, Chrome tab, will that work?
It's on the bottom left of the Jitsi button. Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
So Josh is not logged in at all, as you can see, the sign up and login. Josh, can you click on one of those circles?
Yep, sure. Let's go into the center.
Oh,
Perfect.
That's actually, I meant more like communications, or yeah.
Go into communications.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so here we can see some comms roles, and can you click on like media and design in there?
Yep.
Awesome. So this offers like a read-only version of Glassfrog, which I think is going to be awesome to like. I hope we can maybe incorporate it into the wiki. I definitely have this question of if like a website like this is possible to be embedded into pages like
I
that.
can do that for sure.
Oh, yay, that's so exciting. Okay, so moving on from that part, that's just a little success story. I thank you, Josh, for being my volunteer. You are released from screen sharing.
Stop sharing.
So, if you guys want to, you can either follow along with my screen share, or you can be like logged in on your Glassfrog. But I'm just going to show and explain to you guys kind of how to navigate this app. So, oh, yeah.
Bastard there.
Okay, cool. So here we are. I am logged in. I'm an admin, and so are all of you, because I found out that you need that to do anything. So let's see. Let's just go into a circle here. So this is the page from which you. What do I want to?
What is that clarifying question sign? Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah, it's clarifying kitty. You remember with the whiskers?
Clarifying kitty. I was close.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Danny. What's your question?
So in the email, it tells me that my account has the email address of danny@giveth.io, but it also tells me that I can log in using my Google account. Is there an advantage to sticking with my Giveth or using Google in any way that would help me know which way to go
Not
on
that
this?
I know of. I don't know of anything, and I've been using I actually have tested both. Like I made a Lowy test account with one of my Gmail addresses, and then my main account is with the Giveth email, and I can't tell any difference.
Okay, so there's you have two different accounts though, one with your Google and one with your other.
Yeah, but that's only
linked to
because
the same.
That's only because I was building this interface a little bit and needed to test some things with the Lowy test role.
Okay.
So I would, yeah, definitely just go with your Giveth address, and you only need the one account.
Well, I think it's actually the one that is in the email, because it allows you indeed to sign in with your Google account. So it just links your Google account, I think, to the existing account you created for us, Lorelei. And it's just for easy single sign-on.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you guys are welcome to play around with it.
It is really in the spam folder. Damn it.
It is, yeah. Good to know.
Mine as well.
Zoho spams a lot of things. Which there's another show and tell moment for that Kai has been stressing and enlightened me on, but that's for another another moment. Okay, so as you can see, I added a few of the social coding roles in here, and what I'm hoping is that every month we can go in and use this Glassfrog as the interface for all of our roles updates that we previously did in here. And don't freak out yet. I've spent time building a scraper that's special for Glassfrog, so I can scrape the data once a month off of all of our Glassfrog pages, and it will auto-populate into this spreadsheet. And so that's important for a couple of reasons. I need to be able to look at this like rainbow aggregation in order to facilitate a good roles meeting. Like I need all the feedback in one place. So it's partly for me. And also I think just for good open source documentation, like we should have record of everything in Sheets, and Glassfrog doesn't necessarily provide the best like historical documentation. So, but here we are, and you can see I made some fake feedback. Because Bowen, if you're in here, I'm sure you're thinking, I didn't write that. But yeah, so we'll just go in, and each month, this is where we'll put our feedback. No, Chris, May, feedback. And he's gonna say, where's Adam? I miss him. Yay, okay, feedback. And and we can also use this area, the custom sections, to create some next actions. Bring Adam back to us. Okay, so as you can see, this is basically all of our, almost all of our elements that we have in the spreadsheet. We got purpose, our accountabilities, we have our monthly feedback, we've got projects that we can add, and the next actions. The only thing is
what
really
you've done last month?
what?
Where do you put what you actually did in the past month?
Well, what do you mean? Like, where would that be in the roles sheet?
The one next to accountabilities, one to the right.
Project. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right here.
Oh yeah.
Project. And woof, man, I don't know what like all of these are for. There's a lot of extra info we probably don't need to use. So it doesn't have like the goals column, and that's like the only thing I think it's really missing. And if we really wanted to, we can add that as like a custom section. So is everybody following along okay right now? Any questions?
I want to tell you, did
Right.
you ever see this thing where you can select a new interface? Like I have here.
Oh, up here? Or is it?
It's somewhere in your settings.
Try new UI? Is it the try new UI thing?
Yeah, I don't know where it was. It was.
I just noticed that today, and I haven't tried it.
Yeah, might be. So this is, thank you. This is great. It's just my feedback. So I've been clicking around and changing myself to my nickname, for example, instead of the given name, slave name, how Quasia calls it.
I have a good chat with him about common law then.
I'm wondering a little bit, Lorelai, like, so the thing that to me is important when giving feedback on people is having a bit an overview of indeed what are the projects that they worked on last month. And so now imagine that we start filling this in and you see these things under projects and a month has passed. Start with the next month. How does this work? Because I think it might get a little bit difficult for people to then actually see, because in the end that will be like a huge list, and you then add it like existing projects or like I don't know if it will be clear for people to see like how, okay, that's what the person actually worked on.
You know, I haven't played around that much with their project section that they offer here, but I see what you're saying, and I think that if this projects area doesn't really work for our purposes, we could just create a custom section that's like last month projects. Because that would be a lot more similar to,
I think that
like,
would be an easy
the way
one.
sheet, and maybe it makes it easier for people to just look there and then base their feedback off of that. at least play around with their project offering first.
Yeah. What do you think about the rep link, the lead link, the facilitator, and secretary roles?
So those are compulsory. Those are like there when you start any circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still getting to know like what those really mean and what permissions they have and stuff, because in the app they use those a lot to like set permissions for certain actions, like who can take notes, who can start a meeting, all that. And I've just left it open for now so that we're not like
Lead links are
really
hierarchical. They're in between the circle you're in and the circle that encircles the circle. So the lead link goes between the cell project and the project's larger body, I guess is the way of describing it.
Yeah. And my inclination is to not use.
Sorry, go ahead. I said I think it's a dual linking, but actually I remembered that that's just sociocracy rather than holocracy.
Exactly. Philosophically, that's a little problematic for me. I really like the dual delegate idea of like someone who brings information in and also projects it out. So like my inclination is to not use these like white roles, the compulsory roles that are automatically there, because we are not 100% holocratic in Giveth, and I don't think we need to conform to their like these things that they suggest. And even if we don't conform to it, it's still a really useful, like pretty adaptable platform for us.
I'm glad you see it that way. I'm seeing a web or a graph database here with a front end on it that is limited to the holocracy practice. I think it will be very beneficial for us to poke about and find out how they're working their org structure. But ultimately, it's a dictation of the org structure, and we should bear in mind that what is not necessary to us should be left behind. However, they might enclose us into that is something to be wary of. But again, a very worthwhile tool to look at, play with, get used to, and maybe use as training wheels for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something to keep an eye on, is like how the tools shape the users. So that'll be a social experiment for us. Okay, I have some other things I want to show you guys about Glassfrog. Any other burning questions, or it's okay to move on?
I mean, just on that note, should we consider playing with lead links, rep links, facilitator, secretary, or no?
Okay, the next thing I want to show you is really relevant to answering that question. So I'm going to move to that. Okay, so you guys can see like it's easy to add custom sections or notes or projects from here. But what if I want to like change the accountabilities or the purpose? Like, where do I do that? I can't click on anything. And that's because these are like changing those things is an activity that can only be done during a governance meeting on Glassfrog. So this is kind of a weird thing about this platform, but it works. So I'm going to show you guys how to initiate that. So here I am in the circle, and I see these two options over here. I haven't found tactical meeting to be useful, so like governance meeting is where you can create roles or edit like those core sections of existing roles. I'm going to go open the governance meeting. And people may be notified. Yeah, I'm curious. Are you guys notified that there's a governance meeting happening?
I'll tell you in.
You're in it already?
Yeah, there's a thing in the top that said
A
join
banner.
me, but I also changed my UI. So
Oh, you did? Yeah, no, mine has the banner as well.
I
So
have
can
not
everybody
been
see?
invited, but I'm not signed up potentially, so that would be
Did you
Oh.
say that you changed to the new view? Because I saw it ask if I wanted to do that, and I didn't do that.
Kai said yes already, I'm sure.
okay, I'm taking over secretary.
Whoa, wait. How are you so? No! But that's so
Yep.
and gluten free.
Yeah. And Glassfrog. Those are the
No. Okay, anybody need help joining the meeting?
Yes.
I had to go to social coding circle.
Yeah, you have to be in the social coding circle.
Okay, so
You can click on the coding circle. And you can go.
I'll show you guys. So if you're on the main organization page, which you can always get to for clicking this button, and then just click social coding. And now it says, "Ooh, governance meeting in progress. Join that." Okay. I'm taking back my secretary role.
Oh, what?
Where is thing gone?
So let's see. Purpose.
So we only have Bowen and Kai so far.
But also everybody can watch my screen doing
Okay.
it. So
Well, they're all
Oh, join
probably
meeting. There we go.
getting it, so
okay.
now what?
I'm coming. Mhm.
Okay.
He's in. Is anyone else trying to get in there still?
Currently.
I'm trying. Where should I go? I'm in the social coding circle.
Yeah, you got to go to the social coding.
Okay, I'm gonna try refreshing. It's not working. I don't see a meeting.
Up in the top right, it says join meeting. It changes from start meeting to join meeting.
Oh, we lost Kai.
Oh.
Maybe that'll do it. Hey. Right, I'm signed up. Where is everybody? Social coding.
I saw Bowen in here at one point. Oh, Kai's back. Oh, Kai's the host.
Yeah, I was the secretary and then went away, went back, and I would like auto delegate to the last one, which was Griff, because we're all administrators. We can steal the secretary role from each other.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that a fun
It's a bit
game? Okay, now
bloated,
we have
but
a
it's interesting.
Fine, Danny. Okay, awesome. Okay, so is anybody still having trouble joining the meeting?
I might be.
No, you're in. Well, it says you're in.
Yes, it's working.
Okay, cool. So we have our agenda over here, and there's the stealing the secretary role game. But I just want to show you guys. I'm going to the edit purpose agenda. And oh, I need to take over as secretary again. Okay, so this is like, it's giving you this whole like, it's really putting the holacracy like meeting process like in a way where it wants you to like really enact it through the interface, which I don't think is necessary. Like, do we need to necessarily write down our intention? Probably not. Like, I don't think we're going to end up using this when we do meetings. However,
it's worth a try.
it's worth a try, but
it's
it's like a lot of typing and stuff for, you know, for something that we're pretty good at, just facilitating amongst each other, you know, with our faces on a screen.
Well, it looks like a thing that could be used for roles meeting though, because it's about generally about what roles are impacted, and I don't know.
Yeah, so it's definitely the way to edit roles. So I'm just gonna show you. I don't know if you guys are watching what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm gonna go through social coding, grant ops role, and yeah, I would say it's good to follow along my screen right now because I don't think you guys can see what I'm doing unless you're a secretary, and then I'm not the secretary.
Well, on that note, I have been Lowy, and Gus was messaging you about what happened to the roles meeting, so I might invite
He's
him.
coming. I just
Okay.
gave it to him.
Okay, awesome. So this is where you can edit the name of the role, the purpose, domain. I'm gonna add a domain. Yeah. Oh, Maya.
Oh, I forgot to mute it again.
So yeah, I just wanted you guys to know that like this is where you can change roles, and the reason this is really important is because I have a call to action for you guys, which is to add your other roles. So I went through and I tried to add at least one role from the role sheet for each person so that they could like see what one of their roles looks like on Glassfrog. But I'm hoping that in the next couple days you guys can go in and add your other roles. It should only be like, you know, 2 or 3 roles. I don't think many people have more than like
question on
4
roles is the roles should be decided by tasks. Tasks flow into roles, roles flow into people. How do we know the tasks that assemble the roles?
Well, basically, I'm just asking y'all to add the roles that are in the roles sheet.
Which one can you because I'm just making a demo project which is actually add the rows from the roles sheet. Can you paste your link again, Lorella, your latest version?
My latest version of
the roles sheet.
Oh, of the roles sheet, sure.
And then the clarifying question I would have is, would you prefer that we copy things over as they are right now in the spreadsheet and then discuss modifications once they're in there? Or would you say that as we enter them in, this would be a good time to reevaluate?
Yeah, I think it's a great time to update your projects. You can add next actions as like a custom section, and since it's been a few months, maybe you need to edit your accountabilities or whatever. But I'd say that's like if you're going to edit accountabilities, just think about and domains and purpose. Think about if that's something that you need to share with the group. Right? So that could be. It might be a good thing to bring up in the actual roles meeting.
So Lorelai, also clarifying question. So you have to, in order to edit your roles, you have to start a meeting in your circle, and then there was a place where you can do it, right? Because I missed where you then when we were in this, where you actually do it.
Yeah, totally. And I can show you again right now. I think it's kind of confusing, so I'd love to just show you again. Chris, are you following along my screen share?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, did you get how to start the meeting though? Or
Yeah, I saw that.
okay, you saw that. So okay, so this is like the page inside the meeting. Need to make sure I'm secretary. So you have to be secretary in order to like change anything or add roles. So then it gives me these agenda items, and you just, if there aren't any, you have to add an agenda item in order to be able to do anything. And then just click on the agenda item, and you can go, oh, maybe because someone else added that one. Then you can update existing roles. You can add a new role. Name, this is fresh DJ role.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited, Chris. You're gonna be the freshest DJ
Yay!
ever.
Well, not breakfast DJ for sure.
Offense, I'm sure you're great. I just can't stand DJs at breakfast, man. I had too much of that in lifetime.
Yeah, for sure. We had a lot of that last week.
What?
We had a lot of that last week. We were at Africa Burn, and there was this French camp that was going all night and all
French
morning.
techno.
French techno.
Oh god, kill me now. It's a all
So,
day.
Chris, are you following along? You can see I added a purpose for you. Your purpose in life as the DJ is to make sure people stay up late so that they sleep in late like you. And that's
Yay!
interesting. And you can add domains, and this is the only place that you can add a role or edit any role name or domains or accountabilities. And that's within the governance meeting. So let's just say that's all good.
Well, question. One more question about that one. If I do that, you say you can add a. Because yeah, the roles are normally, and I think that's a crucial part. The roles are linked to goals of Giveth. So that is a custom part that you then have to go, that you cannot add here. You have to go add that after the role already exists, if I get it correctly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, unless we wanted to do a thing where like, I don't know, I was thinking like, oh, you could put the goal, like which goal it relates to as like one of the domains or one of the accountabilities, but that would be kind of clunky, I think. So I'm gonna close this meeting so you guys can see. So now we have this role. It has a purpose, but no domains or accountabilities. Can add the goal that it fulfills here, which is goal number 66. And you can see now it's like a role that can have feedback on it. Feedback. That mix was fire.
That was.
So fire.
Tap Line's got shit on you, Chris.
Well, this is taking a long time. I guess I'll just... what else was I going to show you about this? Oh yeah.
How about the tactical meeting? That's good for generating data, no?
Just for assigning people to roles. This is where I've done it from. There might be other places to do it, but yeah. I want you guys to see that's how you link a person to a role. Tactical meeting, great question. I don't really know what it's for.
We're sharing metrics and deciding on the organization's direction for the week, which is then readdressed in the governance meeting.
Okay, cool. And yeah, I'm not sure how that like
Click it, click it.
The
how
idea
that translates to the website, you know, in the form, because I'm sure that there's I'm not sure how it translates in this platform, you know, like those are the goals of a tactical meeting in holacracy in general, right? Which is awesome. God, Josh, you're so encyclopedic. I love it.
I've done it, obviously. I'm not sold on it. That's why I asked, but I think that there are good elements within holacracy. It's like, as I said earlier, I think it's great training wheels.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know.
So the idea, the reason they have governance and tactical is that governance, you address just the tensions, like the issues within the organization, and the tactical meeting, you discuss the direction and what you're going to do for the week. So governance is like, I was shut down because of this reason last week, and I had to bear with it for the week because that's how it works. So whatever the status quo is, you endorse for the week post governance meeting, decide on the tactics, do the tactics, and then readdress the tensions, which is why governance meeting has tensions in it. Because ultimately in the course of work arises tensions, which aren't a bad thing. Tensions, that was so misinterpreted in Pillar, it's ridiculous. But tensions are the difference in state between where we are now and where we want to be. So when they arise, that's a good thing. They need to be sought and then addressed within the governance meeting. But the tactical meeting is used for surfacing data around anything really. It's where we define metrics and how we decide where, you know, it's defining the week's KPIs essentially, and then going, okay, did that work?
Like the
created this tension, we'll readdress that in gov meeting because we don't like KPIs like this. We should have a different North Star or whatever.
So like the comms meeting on Wednesdays is kind of like a tactical meeting in holacracy.
I guess kind of, yeah. It's tactical meeting is the progression forward. So if we're deciding, like, it would be, I am going to do this for the week. I am going to do this for the week, and everybody decides what they'll do for the week, and then they'll stay fast on their tactics for the week. And then when they get to the week's end, you hit the governance meeting, and then you go, wow, I really didn't want to do that for the week. That created a lot of tensions, but I had to get it done because I committed to it in the tactical. And then you reassess why you ended up in that role and why you had to do it during the week for the tactical meeting. So it's an iterative cycle is what they form together.
Well, that's awesome to like get the lowdown on all of that. And it makes me, it reminds me that like, I want to make a point to you guys that like, I'm not intending to introduce Glassfrog as like a huge new tool that we're using for like all of the purposes that it offers. My goal was to have a better interface for the roles process that happens monthly that would still allow us to have the spreadsheet documentation. And so I'm into like not creating too much change all at once. So like I've shown you guys basically like everything that I right now care about doing on Glassfrog, and it's definitely feels like I think it's a big enough scope for like change for right now, just to get used to these actions and do this experiment and see if this really works for us for our roles process. And so as far as like using Glassfrog for the other meetings and stuff, like I'm not like so hot on doing that right now. I just want to like keep it simple as much as possible because it's already kind of a complex tool. And yeah, so I want to ask you guys a couple of questions that I hope we could do in like a reaction round style. Like,
Can I ask you one more question first, Lorelai?
For sure.
Like you said, this, yeah, sorry for the noise in the background, I'm cooking. Like, what do you see as, you say, I wanted to look for a tool that is better than the solution we currently have with the sheet. In what way, what advantages do you see in the tool in Glassfrog that over the Google Sheet that we were currently using?
Well, people didn't really like the spreadsheet, and it was like always like pulling teeth to get people to actually like fill out stuff. I know people had a hard time just with the swarm of information there, and just like how much you're able to see in the screen, just with the way Google Sheets is and like the size of those boxes and stuff. And Glassfrog is definitely like a lot more friendly on that front. And I think it has a lot of value in being able to demonstrate our roles to outsiders in a way that the information is like easily digestible and fun to click through. I think having this like embedded on our wiki or our website or something would be really cool and make us look professional, and it would be better documentation, and like easier to educate yourself on what a decentralized organization operates like, by having this view of us and of this like Giveth phone book. Yeah, and Chris, it's an interesting like conversation between you and me, because like you and me probably like the spreadsheet the best out of anyone here. Like honestly, I would have been fine staying on the spreadsheet, but a lot of people like just it wasn't working. So like I found this thing that that I want to try and see if it works better for people. And I hope that y'all are down for the experiment. I suppose, should I be doing like a proposal, like a gov proposal round on like whether we should try this tool out?
I think that would be a good idea to like see. Yeah, I don't know. I would say yes.
I think for sure. I'd also just say that a spreadsheet's quite interesting. Spreadsheet versus Glassfrog's quite interesting because one is a list like blockchain and the other is a graph. And a graph is about the interrelations and the relationships. So I would imagine that the graph will function better than the sheet. But that's an assumption that I'm making. But just to show the two in context with each other.
Okay.
But you wanted to ask us some questions, Lorelai.
Yeah, well, my question was, does it seem realistic for you guys to like add your own roles and give feedback on those during the next week, like by Wednesday, and for us to have a full roles meeting 1 week from today? I wanted to know if that timeline makes sense to people, but now I feel like I'm hearing that people want a whole like governance week round with a Lumio proposal on this thing, so I don't know.
I think it can't hurt to dive into this. Like, if we wait longer, I would go with the excitement of people and try to I think like try to play with it. I think it's nicer to engage for the roles process itself. Clicking around a lot in the thing, I see many upgrade to the paid plan, which I don't like much as always, and I kind of want to always like let's make this again free. It reminds me kind of what part of Giveth could be like the governance. It really it really integrates into what we do because we use holacracy so deep down. Yeah, it seems like a halfway there too, but the roles part is kind of robust. It feels for what we need, which is updating and strategy stuff and. Yeah.
I love how it shows anyone who comes to Giveth what we do. I feel like it could be a very nice marketing tool. That's like, hey, you want to see the roles? Who does what in Giveth? Go to this website. Right now, to show someone our spreadsheet is, I don't want to say embarrassing, but it's like, it doesn't look slick, you know? And so even though the background might be kind of ghetto and we have to like jump through some hoops, I think it's safe enough to try for a week and then and decide with that background knowledge. Besides, we're just so desperate for roles. It would probably be I think it's safe enough to try rather than safe enough to wait another week for roles. That's my vote, though.
I could put my hand up again. Sorry. I would suggest maybe it's a thing that we could workshop in Barcelona, because I feel that holacracy half done will fall apart. And I've tried multiple of these types of software, and unless everybody's on the same page from a foundational level, it becomes quite hard. But I'm willing to give it a go this week. I'm not sure I'll get everything in because I'm very distracted by my own graphs, which was the other point I wanted to mention, that I'd like to help you build a graph if that so happens to be useful. I'm going to start indexing communities and people, so why not start with our own?
Yeah, that's one thing that really, the thing that really bugs me most about Glassfrog is that there is a bunch of stuff we don't need, and by bunch I mean loads of stuff, and it is not so crazy to. I don't know if I understood Josh correctly, but like if we want to, we could. Even if we work in this, we could obviously scrape the data because we have the data scraper, so it's nice anyway. But if we down the line, if somebody is funny and says like, "Oh, we just display this data as clickable circles on a circle," it's really cheap. Like people who know how to do stuff like that can do it in a day, probably.
If we have devs with time, we should put them on the DApp. I'm just going to throw that out there.
The what?
Well, I'd be the dev in this case, Chris. I'm studying data science, as you will. So I'm trying to get everything into graph databases. I'm trying to currently scrape the Odyssey info, GDPR compliant and all that it is. But just to like short step the mapping a bit. But that's today's distraction.
Okay, if we're doing a feedback round, I think what we're doing, my feedback would be that I like the visual aspects of the tool big time. So actually our circles are really circles now in this tool by default. So that's cool. But I'm okay with the thing, like it's safe enough to try. But yeah, of course, if we're not going to use it in the end, it's just going to be a lot of work for people. But like, I'm open to try it. I do think like when I see it now, like the way how you have to edit your roles and so on, and that you have to start a meeting and then go edit your roles, and like that, like the goals aspect that is missing. Also like projects, I think that's going to become a bit messy, to be honest. And when I now see how it works, I'm a little bit afraid that it's going to be more cluttered than what we currently have. That's my personal opinion. And all of that together, to me, worries me a bit in the sense that it's actually going to cause a bit of an extra threshold for people to fill it in, I feel. Again, personal opinion. But I'm going to go with the majority for sure. The thing that Griff said about like a good like marketing tool, you mentioned it as well, Lorelai. I think if we want to like have a visual representation of the roles, then personally I would say like let's make it as easy as possible to like update the sheet easily. And I still think the Google Sheet is easier than this when you look at the input, how you have to like go through hoops to do the input here, and like then create something that like automatically, if that is very important, like visually updates the wiki with the roles, if you guys think that is necessary. I personally would prefer that option than to work with a tool that, as Kai also said, and Josh is like that it has a lot of other things that we don't really need and that we're not going to use for sure, because we're not completely working in a holocratic way. So I think I appreciate a lot that you're proposing this tool, but I'm not sure if it's going to solve anything. I'm a little bit afraid it's going to complicate stuff and going to create an extra threshold. And that's my feedback, but I'm open to follow the majority. I give it to someone else.
So I actually like have another meeting in 5 minutes, so like I'm just gonna try and make something like efficient come out of this. So I would like to hear, is it realistic for you to add your roles and give feedback on other roles in the Glassfrog platform in the next week? Yes or no? And if no, in the next 2 weeks? Yes or no? And the only other answer option is like I'm feeling super like blocked, like I'm a no, I'm an objection to this. Don't make me do this more than 2 weeks, something like that. So just go around, everybody answer. Could you complete that in the next week, but like by Wednesday? Could you complete that in the next 2 weeks? Or are you a big fuck no? And Griff, you can go first.
Okay, I would say no, I can't give feedback on everybody's roles in 1 week because I think there's going to be like a logistical issue where some people have roles up and other people don't. And so then there's a mismatch there. So I feel like we need a week to put in our roles and then a week to give feedback. And then that would work. Or we can do like, everyone puts in their roles. And I also think that it's going to be really hard to do it without like some kind of hand holding despite this meeting. So maybe there needs to be some scheduled things. However, I think that it's a really good idea to switch it up and experiment with this tool, and that we might learn other things. So yes.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yes, on 2 weeks. Pass it to Bowen.
I think I would agree with you that giving a little bit of extra time to make sure that everybody gets their roles in properly would aid the process of this potentially succeeding. So I think I would go yes on 2 weeks and pass it to Danny.
I think you're on silent, Danny. Better.
Kai, do you want to go?
No.
Oh, sure. So I'm just really confused on how to add new roles and stuff like that. From trying to use it, but otherwise, if I can't get it to work, I would be down for next like 1 week for filling out. And I don't know if we have time for a real review. I think that should be ideally done on the spot. Should be one of the agenda points in Barcelona. But yeah, maybe we can do it online. So it would save time that we have together. But so thank you, Lorelei, for this great initiative. I really like new tools. I hate that, yeah, it's not open source. I give it to, I don't know who, almost nobody went. I think Dani, did you go yet?
I didn't. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can.
Okay. So the next 2 weeks is a really interesting time frame. I think it can be done. I think I could do this within the next 2 weeks, but I also think along the same lines of Griff that I could get my roles in within the next week to week and a half. But then for reviewing feedback, I almost feel like that would have to happen during the retreat period. And I'll pass it to Bowen.
I already went.
Oh, Jeff.
I can go. Yep. Yeah, I think I've wrapped my head around adding roles here, adding purposes, and I can definitely get those in a week. I have a question. Maybe it doesn't fit into the 1 minute we have remaining in this meeting, but just what we do. So we give feedback on roles.
No, you
Sorry,
can ask
I'm cutting
questions
out.
after. No, you can ask questions afterwards.
Okay.
Michael.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, I like it. I think it's a great tool, and 2 weeks I think makes sense. What everyone else is saying, and I'll pass it to. Is anybody left? Gustavo's here.
Yeah. Well, hello guys. Sorry I'm late, but I got the wrong link there. Well, first of all, I don't have any role to fill up into that application. I'm here just because Laura invited me, because I offer myself to give you a hand, guys, if in case a new development is needed. I'm interested in starting playing around with my new coding skills. So in any case, I'm happy to participate in that platform, maybe with some roles to play around with for the moment. I don't know, because I'm here just to interact, to understand what is the current user experience that you have for the roles management, and in case you need something more ad hoc in the future. At least I really understand what you really guys are looking for. So my answer is yes for the next 2 weeks. If you guys agree, of course, I can play around with a fake role or whatever. I think we can talk about that offline on Law, you told me. So yes.
Cool. Chris, did you respond on this round?
Nope, not yet. Yeah, so I'm saying yes, as in not wanting to be a blocking factor. I think I agree with what Griff said, that it's probably going to need something like also 2 weeks, and that first we need to complete our roles and our projects, and then we need like a second week to get the feedback in, or it's not going to work. So that pushing and that is gonna remain. That you'll still have to facilitate that, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Josh, did you respond on this round?
Not yet.
Go ahead.
What was the key questions, please, if you don't mind again?
Yeah, it's are you okay with adding your extra roles in to the platform and giving feedback on them in 1 week, in 2 weeks, or fuck no?
Okay, so in the next week, I reckon I can put in some roles. I'm not sure whether they'll be correct or right or anything like that, because largely the roles processor hasn't been fluid for me, and I find defining things very difficult anyway. But I'm happy to try and get stuff in the first week, and I'm also happy to try and review stuff within the second week without the pending logistical issues. Regarding software on the third bit, I'm very, very wary of how tools shape us, but I think that this is great training wheels, and I think it's a great initiative, because I'd like to, so I'm good to take the good habits and leave the worst ones behind. So happy to help out. I think it's more of a workshop in Barca kind of thing, really. But that's me. And I'll pass it on to whoever.
I don't think there's anyone left. Am I wrong? Am I missing someone? 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. So the impromptu proposal passed, it sounds like. And I will be reminding you guys and also supporting you in any questions you have, extra tutorials you need on adding your roles in the next week. And then the week following that, we will go through a feedback round. And we will definitely be having lots of awesome, juicy time in person together in Barcelona. And we also need a way to do this when we're not in person together, which is most of the year. So I think that's that. This has been a lovely 1 hour and 5 minutes of show and tell. And that reaction round was kind of a nice checkout as well, I think. So I'm happy to close this meeting unless there's any objections.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, thanks you guys for coming. I'm really excited to keep trying this experiment.
Yeah, thanks for dropping in, Gustavo.
Yeah, dude, so sorry about the bad link.
Say that again?
I'm so sorry about the bad link. I'm sure you got it from the calendar event.
From the wiki calendar.
We ended up in the same, we just stayed in the same Jitsi room from the previous meeting. And yeah, I'm sorry we missed you.
Okay. Take care, you guys.
See you all.
Bye-bye.
Peace, guys.
See you guys.
Just see you.
Bye. Okay, cool. Danny, you and I are hopping in.
Yeah,
I'm looking to see where I'm hopping.
live stream.
Oh yeah. I don't think we, I can't remember if we